He gained one position as he's got the pace to move ahead of Arnott just in front of him. On the last lap, it was Nick Irwan on a 54.067, fastest driver so far on track. He is quicker by 0.6 over Arnott. Will he pass Arnott this lap? He's close. You can see white helmet, red card, that is Arnott. And just behind him, card number 501 is Nick Irwan. He's closing up along the coming out the long right-handed turn 6. And it looks like Luke Armstrong as well has closed up onto Faris Fauzi this time round. And I believe Nick Irwan has made the pass. He is ahead of Arnott. Yes, he is. He is now up to P5. So up in front, it is Faris Fauzi from Luke Armstrong, Mohamed Jassa, James Grunwell, and Nick Irwan. There's some space there for Nick Irwan. Clear track in front of him. So he's got to make up the gap of 0.8 of a second. 0.9, sorry. Nick Irwan to the Stratos RL of James Grunwell in front of him. We don't see anything on screen here. I think the camera is picking up the empty track, not the action. You can see at the far end of the circuit, it is still Faris Fauzi there. Card number 555 leading from Luke Armstrong. Luke Armstrong is matching whatever Faris is doing. A 54.3 from Faris last lap. A 54.1 from Luke Armstrong. But the three drivers behind Faris are all faster than him. And the fastest on them all is Nick Irwan on a 54. Here comes Nick Irwan. He is now in P5 and closing up on James Grunwell. Here you go, a 54.0 from Faris Fauzi, picked up the pace. Nick Irwan this time around only a 54.1. James Grunwell. If he looks over his shoulder, it is Nick Irwan just behind him. 554, that is Mohamed Jassa in P3. A big gap towards the driver ahead, Luke Armstrong. He is 1.5 seconds behind Joshua Luke, which is about half a second behind Faris. Takes a look over his shoulder. Nick Irwan is not there yet, but Nick Irwan looks to be making a move. Cut number 501 onto cut number 567. He has closed up the gap to James Grunwell. Nick Irwan now piling on the pressure to James Grunwell coming out of turn 12. James Grunwell takes a defensive line to turn 1. Does not allow Nick Irwan to make any move into turn 1 at the King, but he will be on the continuous attack for the next few corners. That is Faris Fauzi in the lead. Cut number 567 we're looking at is James Grunwell being shadowed by Nick Irwan. Now coming out into the long right-hand turn 6. This time round, Nick Irwan not close enough to make any move here. It is still James Grunwell ahead of Nick Irwan. The gap between them is only 0.2 of a second, but Nick Irwan is really close up this time round. Coming out turn 9 towards turn 10. James takes a very defensive line into turn 10. Not allow Nick Irwan to make any move. Again, another very defensive line into turn 11. He goes around the outside. That's bogged him down, and that's allowed Arnott to regain a position over Nick Irwan. Oh, but he go wide. That's a battle there. It's now Arnott ahead of James and Nick Irwan. So Arnott gained a true position when Nick Irwan's move didn't pull off over James. And looks like Jeremy as well. Very close behind cut number 501. Jeremy in 513. Now Arnott ahead of James and Nick Irwan with Jeremy. Irwan fights back. Hey, now he gains the position at turn 7. So 501. Irwan has passed James coming out of turn 8. So it's now 501 Irwan just behind 567 and Jeremy in P7. Yi Tang, a lonely P8. Still Arnott ahead of Irwan with James behind him. And then there's Jeremy. So the gap between race leader you can see is 0.3 of a second. Faris Fauzi versus Luke Armstrong. Nick Irwan battling it out now. .501 chasing 566, being chased by 567 James. Here comes Faris Fauzi, your race leader, ahead of Luke Armstrong, 0.3 of a second. A lonely Mohammad Jasa. And then we have the battle for P4 between Arnaud, Irwan, James, and Jeremy. I don't know how long we can go like this. It's so hot. 8 laps to go for the drivers. Even the commentators and officials in the room is feeling the heat. Imagine your drivers out there wearing their racing suit. They may be traveling at God knows what, how many kmh per hour, but still pretty hot out there in this sunny Shah. Arnaud, he was the big winner when Irwan and James had that failed overtaking move at turn 11, but he's now being chased hard by Irwan with James just behind. They're dropping James slightly. It is Arnaud versus Irwan for P4. In front, Faris Fauzi still clocking some good laps. A 53.948 on his previous lap, a 54.093. Fastest man in the group right now is still Faris Fauzi. So far on this lap, a 54.093. The rest are clocking mid-54s. That's your race leader. 7 laps to go. It is a 17-lap race, so we've concluded 10 laps. Faris Fauzi, 53.948. There you can see his best lap. He's opened the gap slightly to 0.7 of a second over Luke Armstrong. Jasa, 3 seconds behind. And then we have Arnaud versus Irwan. There's 5.55. Faris Fauzi in the lead from Armstrong. Here comes Arnaud with Nick Irwan shadowing him. 7 laps to go. And I was just told Arnaud is 60 years old. He's battling it out with a guy who's probably 20 years his junior. Not bad for an old man. Well done, Arnaud. P4 holding it out. That's Mohammad Jasa, a lonely P3, 3.7 seconds behind Faris Fauzi. Mohammad Jasa is 2.6 seconds ahead of Arnaud. Arnaud still holding strong in P4. Here comes Faris Fauzi, 5 laps to go. Ahead of Luke Armstrong. Then here comes Mohammad Jasa, then Arnaud. He's got a sizable gap now over Nick Irwan. 0.6 of a second. Earlier Nick Irwan was only 1 cut length behind Arnaud. But there's still 5 laps to go. 4 laps to go now for all our DD2 Max Masters pre-final. And the fastest lap from Faris Fauzi, 53.7682 with 4 laps to go. Car number 513, we're looking on screen, that's Jeremy Nyam, running in P6. We caught a glimpse there of Faris Fauzi and Luke Armstrong. There's Faris Fauzi, 3 laps to go, driving that B-Rail kart, Stratos RL. Car number 555. Best lap 53.782. Luke Armstrong behind him, 1.2 seconds behind. On screen, you can see both P1 and P2 and a glimpse of P3 Jasa just exiting turn 12. Faris Fawzi, the gap stands at 1.1 second over Luke Armstrong. Faris Fawzi, pre-final race leader, 3 laps to go. Luke Armstrong, P2, Mohammad Jasa, P3. Arnold, still ahead of Nick Irwan. Where are they on track? Blocked by this huge gantry, can't really see where they are. Here comes Faris Fawzi, still the race leader. Still 3 laps to go. This is our round 1 of Rotax Max Challenge Asia Trophy. Round 2 in early June, we'll be going off to Thailand for the Bira circuit. For Rotax Max Asia Trophy round 2, there'll be 6 rounds this year in total. Here comes Arnold crossing the start finish line. 2 laps to go. He has dropped Irwan, and behind Irwan is Jeremy, who's now just half a second, 1 second behind Irwan. And right behind 532 is Yi Tang. So as mentioned, we're going to be going to Thailand for the Rotax Max Asia Trophy round 2, and then we'll be returning back to Malaysia. There'll be more races in Shah Alam and also in Unimap. Here comes race leader Faris Fawzi. Gap now 1.2 seconds ahead of Luke Armstrong. Final lap about to begin for our race leader. Took the lead at the start and never lost it. Still race leader on the last lap. Passing turns 4 and 5. Heading towards turn 6, the long right-hander. Yep, we have Jeremy now chasing up to Irwan. He's closing up onto Irwan. He's got probably 2 places where he can make the move into this turn 7 hairpin. It's not close enough. On screen, we can see race leader Faris Fawzi, followed by Joshua. Looks like Faris has dropped his pace slightly. It is Faris Fawzi about to check checkered flag. And yes, Jeremy and Nick Irwan. Jeremy has passed Nick Irwan for position, so Nick Irwan has lost. It looks like he's leaning over. Nick Irwan's probably tired from the heat. It is Jeremy moving up to P5. So P1, Faris Fawzi, Luke Armstrong, P2, Jasa, P3, Arnold, P4, and then Jeremy over Nick Irwan. Position change on the last lap. And we now have Yi Tang taking the final checkered flag. Final race finisher.